Recently, there were hearings in Lansing over Common Core standards. Just a brief refresher for you. The Common Core is across-the-board learning standards adopted by 45 states across the country, including in Michigan. But this year, the legislature blocked funding for educators to implement Common Core. So what are the biggest holdups in this situation?
Well, I think ultimately this will pass and they'll get a deal done. There was some concern, rightfully so, that not with the standards. I think people accept the standards are themselves are a good thing.
Completely innocuous.
And you know, it's this idea of more federal involvement in education on the heels of No Child Left Behind, which Michigan had to ask for a waiver from. And you know, it seems a legitimate concern that anytime the federal government gets involved at this level of education, they make it more inefficient.
It makes it more inefficient? Do you agree with that?
No, of course not. I mean, states have, first of all, Common Core is the result of state superintendents all working together to come up with standards that they could agree on. All Common Core says is that a diploma that you get in the state of Michigan should be the same, have the same value as a diploma you get in Florida or California or Alabama.
And this is international across the board.
It's just basic standards in terms of what kids should know.
And the standards themselves are good. I mean, they are the right standards.
And states have proven themselves unable to impose those standards on their own, which is why they all work together to come up with federal standards.
It's not true.
We don't have those standards.
Michigan developed a very good core curriculum here, a very rigorous standards, hard fought.
And then backed away from them.
The only fear here is the federal role. And you know, it comes from experience.
It doesn't come from experience.
No Child Left Behind was a disaster.
No Child Left Behind had problems, but
can
it
you
was better
equate
than
that,
what we
though,
had
to
before.
every single program?
No.
If the federal government has their hand on it, then therefore every program is going to be terrible?
You can't necessarily equate it to that, but you can certainly be informed by the past promises the federal government made about, oh, this program is going to be innocuous, we're not going to meddle in your local decision making. It never happened.
Well, No Child Left Behind was never sold that way. No Child Left Behind was a pretty intrusive federal program, you know, authored by a Republican, and it didn't work for a number of reasons that had nothing to do with the federal government. There were systemic problems from the beginning. This is a much sort of more laid back kind of approach to just saying, look, these are the standards. You meet them however you want to meet them.
Yeah, you implement your own curriculum.
You've got to make sure that
and there's nothing to stop states from doing that themselves, and they should.
They did.
And
this
Michigan
is what Common Core is.
Okay, well, so if you say that you think eventually this is going to get done, because it hasn't gotten done yet, and we're at the end of July here, how does this put educators behind the ball a little bit come fall?
They've been planning this for 3 years to transition to this curriculum this fall. Everything is in place to do it. The new teacher evaluation system has been geared toward using this.
And we are going to talk about that.
There's not a thing stopping districts from implementing it this fall. Not a thing.
Sure there is, absolutely. If the legislature doesn't do it, they can't. They're not supposed to do it. So now you're going to disrupt all of that planning, all of that preparation for politics. When we see that from Washington, we get all worked up. I'm not sure why it's acceptable from the state legislature.